Very special episode. For one reason only. The girl we're looking at over here is actually my sister. And you have to make contact for 5 seconds to say 5? Start the timer whenever you're ready. Yo, this is so loud.
So sorry, say I love you and then stare.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's trying to race. Alright team, are we ready? 3, 2, 1.
And mind you, bro, this boy told me, and if you asked me like a couple weeks ago, I would have told you that like, nah, I would never do that. That's not me. I can't date multiple people at the same time. But like, don't make fun of me. But I got this from TikTok. If you're mad, like, are you even real, bro?
Having multiple guy friends and you're not friends with, what you doing hanging around those guys? That's what I'm saying. Okay, guys. So, the next part of the show, we're gonna dissect this how we met each other a little bit more, because I feel like there's a part that we're skipping over. The situationship that turned into a relationship. That's bars, by the way. That's bars. So, I feel like a lot of people, you know, they call this generation the generation of situationships. They call this the generation of situationships. We have a prime example here.
That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That was really cool.
We had a private example.
Yeah.
We had. Let's emphasize that. All right, guys, I feel like I'm coming for you, but I got to, right? Because if I don't, who else is going to? YLD doesn't.
For real.
All right, period. So, a lot of people are in the situation today where they are trying to figure things out. They like their partner. They just don't know if they're ready to make the next step, right? Given I know the background a little bit on this already, I'm just going to steer this towards Kristen. Because the omen, based on what we've been hearing, or what I've heard, is that it was on you to kind of expedite this process.
Indeed.
Right? And, you know, even contextually speaking and anecdotally speaking, throughout this episode, you had mentioned that you were at a stage in your life, you had, evidently, very, very fair, you had just come out of a 1.5 and then a 7-month relationship. Basically, you went through the entirety of a quirky college experience that was like half remote in a relationship for like 2.5 years. And now you're just getting out of your junior year and you're approaching senior year and, you know, you guys are about to enter a relationship. It's a very sticky situation. But I think that's what, you know, kind of defines our generation a little bit in terms of like why there's so many situationships. Maybe we just don't know how to navigate these sticky situations. Like, it's not like life hasn't always been quirky and weird for everyone. So why do you think that you in particular took that much time, right, to kind of make the next move?
I think, like you mentioned, I was in the 2 past relationships, and so everyone before me, or everyone who was around me at the time when I was in the relationship, was kind of like, so with Rayma, I thought a lot more about it, because coming out of this relationship, I was like, damn, I don't want to keep being in relationships with that I'm not really super serious about. I believe your sister is more than good enough. But that was a conversation I had with my friend a lot. But it really was just me like not being able to like be alone yet in college. So I kind of just transitioned from the first girl to the second girl. So I realized I was doing this thing where I was getting in relationships more so because I was like, I felt like I didn't know college without being in a relationship. So I thought it was going to be a little weird. But so that's why it took me a long time in the beginning, because I was still figuring out if I wanted to be in a relationship. And yeah, eventually I realized that it's very difficult to find a good person, like woman or man. Like, if you find someone that checks all the boxes, it's really stupid to waste your time and think I'll just find this again in the future
And waste their time.
and waste their time. Exactly. But like, what I'm trying to say is basically, if you're a person that checks all the boxes, like you shouldn't just be like kind of like playing with it, like just having it sitting there, because it's really difficult. I'm been lucky enough that like most of the people that I've met, like just like friendship wise, are good people, but like it's difficult to find good friends, good partners. And I thought Redmond was a good partner, so I decided that I'm gonna stop playing around.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
That was a stellar answer. And it was genuine. It made a lot of sense. And you know what? I'm very impressed with the fact that we're only a year to 3 years apart. I was just very impressed at any young man our age who can think like that. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult to find young men, young women who thinks like that. Right? And let me tell you exactly why. It's because we're not wired to, not encouraged to, not trained to, right? Like, we're constantly told that, oh, there's so many efficiency. You can be with, tons of different people. You should go out and explore, go find yourself, right? Like, don't settle, etc. Those are things that are legitimate and fair, absolutely, right? You shouldn't settle. And you should explore yourself. And you should have some time to find out who you really want to be with. What I think people get lost in is they don't know where to draw the boundary of like, oh, I'm going too far, or I'm wasting my time, or I'm not being targeted, right? You're swiping on 1,000 Hinge profiles a day. You're running through Tinder messages, right? You go out to the club, you meet tons of people, etc. But it's very rare you find someone who can think like, oh, out of all these things, right? In 3, 4, 5 years, when your peers are settling down, everybody's got kids, like, or, they got their own person and they're growing together with that person, building houses together with that person, living a life together with that person, and you spend all your time out there in the streets.
Okay.
You spend your time out there in the streets, it's going to catch up to you, bro. It's going to catch up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying rush into a relationship, but if you find the one, don't go start running around trying to figure out, oh, is there someone better? If you find someone who checks off the boxes, I can almost guarantee you that person is the right one for you.
Mm.
Because there is, what I think is that is in life, there's not really, like, I wouldn't say that I don't really believe in the idea of, oh, you have that one soul to match up, right? I believe there's a time window, right? That's most optimal for people to get together and to be with each other and to find each other and to grow into a successful marriage. All right, so something I really want to probe into deeper here is, we understand why it took you so long, but you were in this stage of purgatory ensuing this whole time. How did you feel? What were you thinking? Did you feel like, is he really the one for me? Does he really like me? For example, it felt like when you guys first started, it felt like from the story that I'm hearing, it seemed like you were the one who was pushing and putting a little bit more of the effort to make this happen. Like, it almost feels like you are one of the major key reasons why this relationship did happen, because of your love for him, right? And that pushed you to keep encouraging him to start this relationship with you when he was in a period of indecision.
Yeah.
So how was all that for you? Was a lot of baggage? Talk about it, so other women out here can kind of relate with you to know how it feels.
Yeah, I mean, like, he
Sorry.
he had
Pour your heart out in you. What a year.
yeah
Check out the burner.
he he had told me, like, after this really big, like, serious fight that we had, we were just chilling in my car, and he was like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was talking to my friends about it, and I, like, don't know if I'm ready for a relationship because I just got out of one. Like, I really like you and I don't want to stop, like, hanging out with you and, like, spending time with you, but I just don't think I'm ready for a relationship. And mind you, I had
So he said that to you.
Wait, but tell them what I said with them. Tell them, like, what I said.
So he just said that to you? That's crazy.
What else did you
Yeah.
say?
I said you were the girl of my dreams.
Yeah, he said I was the girl of your dreams, but you wasn't ready to, like...
What you know? Hey, we trying. Bro, you really trying. Let me try.
I don't want to say that you didn't mean that, but, like,
try.
at the moment, I wasn't, like, geeking because you had told me right after, like, but, like, I'm not ready for a relationship. Which, at the end of the day, like, his explanation made sense. Like, yeah, like, I just gotten out of a relationship for, like, basically 2 years, or 3 years of my life. Like, I don't want to just rush to another one. I want to learn. What he had told me, honestly, was, like, I want to learn more about myself. I want to, like, do things for myself. I don't want to constantly think about another person. I haven't had the opportunity in college to just do my own thing. And it's not even like, oh, I want to go out and explore other people. Like, literally just, like, hang out with my friends. Like, focus on my academics. Like, pursue my own career goals. Like, so I understood that. But when I first heard that, it was an immediate red flag, immediate like red lights in my head, because I had just gotten out of like another situationship with another person who was like, I'm not ready. And not only I'm not ready for a relationship, I want to date you and another girl. Yeah. And was talking to another girl. Yeah, I got this one side chick, and I also got you, and I also got another girl. And I want to date the both of you.
Bro,
and I
you said
said
that mad calm to you?
mad calm. And when I tweaked out, I was like, you're so funny. He was like, what's the problem though? And mind you, bro, this boy told me, and if you asked me like a couple weeks ago, I would have told you that like, nah, I would never do that. That's not me. I can't date multiple people at the same time. But like, don't make fun of me. But I got this from TikTok. If you're mad, like, are you even real, bro?
No.
Are you a real person? I got this from TikTok, and I'm supposed to be what? Like, your lab rat number one? Like, you thought that was...
Homies though?
No, on a dead homies, bro. Word two, like, he really said that. And I was so delulu. The level of the lulu-ness that I was on, I was like, oh, I just feel like maybe, like he's still going through a rough time. Like, I feel like the way he grew up, like, it doesn't, like, really help. Like, it's not his fault, guys. And I would tell all my friends, and my friends would be really looking at me like, girl, like, you need to open your eyes. Like, you need to get some contacts. You need to get, like, you need to wear contacts and glasses. And, like, I don't know, you need to go see an eye doctor because something is really up. And so when I heard, like, the whole, oh, like, I'm not ready for a relationship thing, immediately I just went back to that situation. I said, hell to the no. Said a no. I said, ain't no way. Like, I'm just not doing that in my head. And then I was like, wait, but this is actually a good guy. Like, I genuinely love spending time with this person. Like, way more than any other person I'd ever spent time with before. And honestly, like, as women, like, who are interested in marriage, of course, we feel like our time is running out when we're in college. Because once I'm going to be an investment banker, like, I'm not going to have time to, like, go date around and all that stuff. So I'm like, I need to find a man now. And it's not only that, like, I found A man, like, I found B man. Like, I found, like, someone that, like, genuinely cares about me. He listens to
The period
me.
button is below.
Yeah.
You go out like this to like. The period button is below. Give this show a like. Comment down your thoughts below. This is some crazy situations, and make sure you subscribe. Sorry, keep going.
No, yeah, like, I just feel like I couldn't miss out on that. And even I didn't want to let my past relationship, like, dictate how I was gonna decide the future of, like, the relationship between both of us. So yeah, I mean, for any girl, it's gonna sound like a red flag, like, oh, I'm not ready for a relationship, because that's what we hear all the time. Like, I'm not ready to be committed, so and then you want to still do the same thing? Hell no. Like, I know ragdoll. I know, like, come talk to me for 2 hours and then go home and do your own thing. Like, no. But if that person really means, like, something, you just gotta trust your gut. And that's what, and I also, like, trusted God at that moment. Like, I'm like, you know, God would always have plans for me to prosper. So I'm like, you know, I hope this is a prosperous situation between both of us. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, I understand. Like, that makes sense, you know, but, like, there's a time frame. Like, you know, I'm gonna give you this one little thing, but, like, after a certain while, like, I'm not gonna be waiting for you anymore. Like, I'm going to France, like, I'm studying abroad next semester. There's, like, many opportunities to explore, like, other people. There's many opportunities to just explore myself, who I am. Like, I'm not gonna be waiting for you to know whether you're ready or not for me. I'm more than that. Like, I'm more than just some like, troubled princess that's waiting in a tower waiting for Prince Charles to save me. Like, no, I'm gonna dictate how my relationship is gonna be with, like, other people in my life by myself. Like, I'm not just gonna wait for you. And so obviously it took some time, and there's a lot of, like, back and forth, and, like, so what's gonna happen? Like, what's the vibes right now? Like, what's going on? What are we? Like, we had dictated exclusivity, and I think that's very important. Like, I'm looking y'all dead in y'all eyes, all the women and all the men, all the people that are watching this video, dictate exclusivity immediately, so that if somebody does something, nobody can tweak out. Y'all say you was exclusive. So that's what I did. I said, okay, we not together, but we're exclusive. I don't want to hear that you was doing something with Jill, you know, Jonica, Letitia, and Barbara. Like, I don't want to hear none of that. You not with me right now, that's cool, but we're committed to each other until you're ready to be fully committed, until we're ready to put that label. So dictate exclusivity immediately. If you really feel that thing's that person, unless you want to do your own thing. But, like, yeah, I was like, we're at least exclusive, though. And if that wasn't well received, then nothing was ever going to be received ever after that. We gonna have to, part like the Red Sea. Like I was just like, nah. So yeah, in my point of view, like it was very like scary at first because I was like, I cannot go through the level of heartbreak that I went through before with this other man. Like I was like, I'm not doing it.
Period.
And at that point, I had dictated just like like the men at my school are just trash. Like period, point blank. Like because this is not the only story. You just hear other stories of other men in my school. I'm like, ain't no way. Like I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna have to be single for the rest of my life and vibe out on my own. But when I found Chrissy, I just felt so lucky. And just felt so, like, moved to just be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna keep up with this. But for a certain amount of time. But yeah. So, and I'm glad it's paid out because, he's actually asking me to be his now, so.
Well, I mean, you got about that point. That was another reason why I was kind of hesitant. Was because she was going to France for 4 months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of factors.
Yeah.
I understand, admittedly, like, I'm a guy, like, I was once in your shoes, even though I'm married. I was once in that stage, talking to my now spouse, and full disclosure, it took us 2 months. It took me 2 months to ask her. Very similar stage, right? Like, just wondering, for me, if I was at a point where the next girl's got to be the right girl. Like, I'm not trying to waste my time. I'm trying to waste my time. Like, every person that you allow in your inner circle and your inner energy, they are always going to leave with a piece of it.
Right.
Like,
Sometimes,
there's always going to be baggage.
Right.
And, like, the sooner you can, like, just find a person for you. How many months were you single? Now, at the same time, I feel like you did a really, really good job. Like, you're a very good example of what, I guess, a man today kind of making his decision would have needed. Right? And vice versa. What a spouse would have needed in that sense. When they're in that situation, you understand that they do care for you, but the circumstance is just not. That's why they say everything is not just about how you feel, it's also about timing. Like, it's gotta be the right time. And the fact that you understood that and let yourself be subject to time by telling him, look, it's okay if you don't want to date right now. Like, you still let yourself be vulnerable, but you also set a boundary, which I feel like is just a perfect balance in that's what today's generation is missing, and that's why we're classified as a generation of situationships, because people don't know how to navigate these things anymore, right? And you did it perfectly. You were vulnerable with him, said, hey, like, I like you, I care about you, I love you, I want to be with you, but if you don't want to be together, that's fine. But if you won't talk to me, we're going to be exclusive. I want to hear you running around the streets. If this is just an excuse for you to run around, I'm not the one. Right? And you made that clear. You made that clear. And I think that's the takeaway here for a lot of young women, or young men who are in this situation. Make it clear what you want, right? You don't have to have a title. Titles are not what's important. Developing the relationship and the person is what's important.
Because y'all can have a title. I've seen people married for 30 years and cheated one night and it's over.
Yeah.
They've been cheated for
years.
15 years and dated and been married for 30 years. Title don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
I think what's important in this generation is knowing who you are and really loving yourself enough to the point that you're not going to tolerate certain things from certain people. And it's easier said than done. Because I very much if I was another person listening to my story, I would think easily, yeah, she's delusional. Me personally, I would never do that. But a lot of y'all have been in my situation, dealt with some crazier stuff, and still got your heart played with because you didn't set boundaries. You purposely ignored red flags. You didn't know who you were. You didn't know what you wanted for real. It's just knowing what you want, being able to see those red flags and being able to point out to the person, not being afraid. I'm not gonna lie, bro, that sounds like a red flag.
Yeah.
That's really scary for me to hear. That's a very hard thing for me to hear. You like me, but you're not ready to be with me.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that. But it's you gotta know, do you really love this person? Do you really care for this person? Do you think this person is the one for you? Do you think this person, even if they're not the one for you, do you think this person is worth waiting for? And being okay, I care for you, but I also care for myself. At the end of the day, I know what I went through. I know what people have went through. I know what I don't want to go through. I know I don't want to go through that. If you know you're about to do this, let me know right now. I'm done.
Period.
And it's also has
before you get attached.
Yeah, and it's also
before you get attached.
It's also understanding there's risks to everything. Because a man can really give you the assurance the reassurance that you need and still play with your heart.
Still play.
A woman can give you the reassurance, and anybody like can give you the reassurance, and still play with your heart. You gotta understand that if you're gonna be in this love game, there's risk to it. So like, I feel like you just gotta know who you are and truly love yourself to the point to like, I'm not gonna tolerate certain things, but love yourself enough to be loved as well. Like you don't gotta be like outside of a relationship to also learn more about yourself. That person can reveal things about you that you didn't even know that you knew, or that you didn't know that you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that like it's truly understanding who you are as a person and understanding the feelings that you have for another person to see like, okay, should I move forward? Should I proceed? Or should I take a step back? Should I like at least communicate? Communication is the biggest thing. I'm glad that at the end of the day, I didn't have to find out in some crazy way that Christy was not ready for a relationship with me. He went and, and told me that, and that's very rare. A lot of men would just play with you, think like, oh, you're the girl of my dreams, I wanted you forever, like I'm so glad that I found you, you're my little chocolate drop, sweet honey mustard, blah, 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 like all this crazy stuff, and still talk to 5 million other girls, and to those girls be like, nah, I don't really rock with her like that, like she's just like, you know, she's just my little friend, like, bro, meanwhile he's saying all these little sweet nothings to you, like. But he was really communicative, like, told me exactly how he felt, and expressed to me that he was scared to tell me because he didn't want to lose me at the end of the day. Like, for someone to still make that choice, even being afraid that, like, oh, I might say no, and still went forward, like, this is important to me, you're important to me, but this is also important to me. You know what I'm saying? I really respected that, and I was like, you know, like, that makes me want to be, like, to wait for you even more.
Yeah. And I think the number one thing there, I just want to highlight for men and for young women too, honestly, this is just for everybody, is that Chrissy was honest. And honesty is what develops that trust.
Right.
It's what makes you worth waiting for. It's what makes you credible. And it boosts the integrity of your relationship, if there is one to be made. I think this point is so critical because a lot of people feel afraid to say the truth, right? So that you don't want to break her heart. I promise you, anything that you're going to go do other than telling her the truth is going to break her heart. And break his heart even more.
Right.
Anything else, even not talking to them is worse. Like, go and approach that person and say to them exactly what you want. Like, our generation is too caught up in, like, not saying how we directly feel to people we love, right? Like, just tell them. People will appreciate that more than just trying to mask everything, trying to shortcode it and make it presentable. Just tell them what you want, bro. Stop wasting people's time.
Right.
All right? And for yourself, just stop wasting your own time.
Right.
Like, go tell her or him what you feel and what you want. That's it.
And you gotta be okay with possibly losing that person. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna be so much worse if you're in a relationship with someone and you have all these feelings festering inside of you
for no
that
reason.
you're not able to express.
For no reason.
And then you start lashing out on each other. You wonder why you have these long periods of just fighting, long periods of like not being attracted to that person, long periods of starting thinking about other people, thinking about breaking up, and like you're just not able to like express that to that person. You're gonna feel so much worse if you don't just communicate to that person. Hey, I'm feeling this way.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't like this that this happened. Hey, like, I just, like this is not working for me. Let's see how to fix this, or there's nothing to be fixed. I need to go.
Facts.
And you gotta just be willing to lose that person. Like, it's just, like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It really is what it is. Like, you know, if it was for you, it'll always come back to you. And if it's not, it's not. You just gotta sit with that. You just gotta eat that up. Yeah.
I think what's important, too, is that I was talking to my friends a lot about this. Like, the situation that we had prompted me to say this. But I also wanted to make sure not to go too long without letting Raymond know that I was in a relationship. Because I feel like, given the timeline, this was like 2 weeks into us like talking that I let her know that I wasn't in a relationship. I didn't want to wait longer for her to like start asking questions. I think at this point, at this point, there was really like we were just still like seeing what the vibes were. It's, like it was really giving no signs of. Like it was, but like at the moment, like what, like if it was like most normal situations, like it wasn't really giving any signs of like asking any questions yet.
Mm-hmm.
But like at the moment, like situation I'm at, like moments tensions were high. So like, and I was talking to my friends about this for a long time. I was like, I feel like it's very unfair of me to be like doing this, like the way we interact and act like it's definitely giving us getting into a relationship. So I wanted to make sure that I said it early enough to the point where like if she wanted to say, okay, I don't want to do this, that she was able to do that like more easily than like
Yeah.
waiting later until like she's over born.
Emotions are really deep.
And she did say that during the conversation, she was like, "Oh, if you feel like it's easier for you to like deal with like to find yourself on your own, that's okay. But I'm here for you to like, if you like, cause like how she said earlier, like there are ways to be able to like find yourself and like answer questions with another person by your side." And she did give me the option, like, you know, if you want to leave, then like, I understand that. But if you like, I'm willing to like help you get to that point to be with me. So I really appreciate that. So I feel like that's a big thing that like encouraged me to like, okay, I'll just keep going and then see where it goes.
Wow. So it's honestly weird because it's like, it's not weird. It's funny because it's literally that omen of, if you love something, let it go. And if it loves you, it'll come back to you.
Right.
That's literally what just happened. Right? Like we were like, look, if this guy is like not ready to settle down, I mean, it's what it is. This is what I want. You do you. And especially knowing like Kristen's character, you know, I could definitely sense Jim Moore as someone who doesn't want to be caged in. Like you want free thought. You want to be able to like, right? Like be able to kind of like make sure that what you're doing is because you decided that you want it.
Right.
Not because someone forced you to do it.
Yeah.
And everybody else is the very same way. Like very similar,
1,000%.
right? Like you don't do anything that anybody tells you to do unless you want to do it, right? Because like it's got to make sense in your mind. So to all the people out there, stop forcing things, right? Like it is what it is. And there's literally nothing you could do about it other than accept it for what it is and adjust accordingly. The sooner you do that, the better it will be on your own heart, and the quicker you'll be able to move on.
I mean, no,
Like,
it's gonna
just like
suck.
it is.
It's gonna suck because
It's
like
gonna suck.
when you really want something and
Yeah.
it's just not working out the way that you want it to work out, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
But I promise you, it's not gonna suck as much as you wanted something to work. Tried to force it to work.
And
it
didn't
really
work
didn't
out.
work,
And
and
it
it
blew up
just
in your
blew
face.
up in your face.
Literally, yeah.
It's like
Absolutely.
it's like 1,000 times more painful, and you continue like, bro, like why didn't I just let it go? Why didn't I
Yeah.
just like let it go?
Yeah.
Let it go
Yes.
now. Let that man go. Let that woman go. Let that person go. Just like let it go. If it was supposed to happen, it's gonna happen. And if it's not supposed to happen, you're gonna receive a greater blessing down the line that you're like, I'm so glad that I let that thing go.
Yeah.
Like when I think about the relationship that I have with the other dude, like I'm like, my life is over. Like I cannot believe this happened to me. I'm the first person to be like, girl, let that man go. And I was not able to let the man go. And I was like, bro, like it is what it is for me. Like it's just ended. I'm never trusting another person again in my life. And when I think about my relationship with Chrisley versus the relationship I have with the other person, I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't listen to any of the nonsense that he was telling me.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad that I didn't, like, multiple times he would try to talk to me after, like, I'm so sorry, like, well, not that he wanted to get back with me, but, like, you know, you become friends with, like, that same person again, like, you know, I don't know what could have happened, but it's like, I didn't just forgive you just like that, or I didn't just, like act like nothing happened. And I'm just, like, so glad that that thing happened for me to realize these are the things that I need to do now in my future relationships. These are ways I need to move. Like, this is the questions I need to ask. These are the answers I need to receive, you know, in order for me to proceed in a relationship. I'm so glad that that thing happened in order for me to be at the point that I am right now. You know, everything's also a learning. It's a learning, like, it's just a lesson. Like, you know, sometimes you're not going to listen. Like, you guys might watch this video right now and be like, bro, they talking about something, bro. They don't know what they're talking about. Experience what we're experiencing, and then you're gonna be like, damn, I wish I listened. And then you're gonna think back like, oh my gosh, if I had just done this, da da da, you know what? But I'm glad that I went through that, so I can explain to other people like, hey, this is how you should move. I explain to myself, hey, I noticed this pattern that I noticed from a different situationship or a different relationship that I had before. I know how I felt at the end of that thing. I don't want to go back to feeling that.
Yeah.
So I know that I cannot move in a certain way. I need to move in the literal 180 opposite direction. So, yeah.
Wow, this has been very insightful, guys. I think very interesting situation. All right, bro. Guys, we'll see you in the next part 3. Part 3. It's gonna be great. See you next week.